How bad do you think Season 3 is gonna be? I think it's gonna be worse than Season 1, and a lot worse.
Diablo 4 Season 3 is right around the corner. In fact, tomorrow we're supposed to be giving the patch notes for it, and 2 days after that we're getting the developer live stream, which is a full deep dive of information that's supposed to...
I can't wait for the developers who don't play their own game tell us about how amazing Season 4 is gonna be. That's right, not Season 3, but Season 4, when they actually make the real changes. It's gonna make Diablo into a good game, okay? Yeah, I can't wait for that, because I don't think they have anything planned for Season 3, honestly. Season 2 wasn't that bad, but you have to agree with me. Season 2, at the very end, they did implement a lot of things, but all of these things were like, who cares? They got boring really fast. They weren't bad per se, but they were super boring and super dull. And that's gonna be Season 3. Yeah. And with every season, honestly, Diablo 4 is just inching closer to Diablo 3. And that's a very bad thing.
To explain everything we're going to expect. Now, in my previous video I just put out on the channel, I talked about what we already knew, showing things from like the BlizzCon footage where they actually bluntly tell us things like the Gauntlet, the Challenge Leaderboards, etc. are coming. And in
the Challenge Leagues, okay, that's fine. The Gauntlet, that's very bad, honestly, and I will explain why in just a second. And the Leaderboards, yeah, literally 3 people care about this. By the way, all of these updates are 1-for-1 Diablo 3 updates. You know what I saw, I think 2 days ago? I saw a group of level 100 players clear the Abattoir of Zir level 25. The hardest level of the Abattoir. Okay? That most classes can't even do until level 15. But they did it. And they did it in 3 minutes. You know what it was? That video was the saddest thing I have ever seen, because that gameplay was worse than Diablo 3 gameplay. Diablo 3 is an absolute mess that, you know, it's fun to play for like 2 or 3 days, you know, an hour or 2 each, but when you get to the late game of Diablo 3, it's just super sad. It's boring, it's dull, it's lame. All the mobs have hundreds billions of health, and it's just a bunch of damage sponges, and your mission is to kill them while CCing them for infinity. And that's exactly what I saw in Abattoir of Zir when the team cleared it in 3 minutes at level 25. It was shit. It was one of the worst looking things I have ever seen in gaming. This is not taking a step back to Diablo 3. This is literally Diablo 4 deciding to go full on in the direction of Diablo 3 and innovate on what Diablo 3 is. And no one likes Diablo 3. And that's one of precisely the things why people hate it. Damage sponge enemies with 100 billion HP, and your numbers have a B or a mill behind them, and it's just a shit show. It's just a sad shit show. That's what that's what Diablo 3 is. And Diablo 4, with all of these changes, it looks like they're literally just recreating Diablo 3. And if this keeps on, I don't think there's going to be a Diablo 4 by Season 4.
In that video, I went back to look at the comments this morning, and some of the comments were pretty funny. So I thought, let's read some of the Diablo 4 Season 3 comments that people are leaving and pick through them. It should be kind of fun. Okay, now the first one is by Drewbert, and he is referencing the Diablo 4 Season 3 teaser showed a bunch of gears, you know, cogwheels, you could call them, goes through it into an intro and says evil looms, and that was sort of the teaser. Now, this is sort of in a discussion at the moment, because Grinding Gear Games, the company that owns and runs Path of Exile, that's sort of their intro. They go in through, you know, grinding gears, who were the guests, into whatever teaser they're going to be doing. So Drewbert is referencing that and says, I think the Grinding Gears teaser is honestly just a marketing thing because of the recent wave of D4 players trying out PoE. Either way, it got people talking, so it definitely worked. Well, one thing is it did get people talking.
Yeah, it got people talking about how bad Diablo 4 is. That's not a good thing.
Multiple videos. I made a video not just discussing that, but like I said, most of the things coming in Season 3, as well as I saw Riker had a video sort of talking about, and there's multiple people that sort of have covered that just in general. Now, it could be a coincidence. It could be a marketing tactic. I know.
I think it's a coincidence. I think Diablo 4 is just everyone working at the game is just an inept idiot.
Oh, there's plenty of people that are playing PoE. You got Rax playing PoE. I've been playing PoE very heavily. You have Rage Gaming. I know this has been doing his own PoE, and he was a D4 coverer as well. Riker, I believe, played a little bit of PoE. Woody even played some PoE as well. So you have a large amount of people that are mainly Diablo players who have been sort of going to Path of Exile. And I've seen a lot of comments as well as people like, I'm new to Path of Exile. I started watching your videos, noticed you play PoE, and I'm trying out, I'm loving the game, etc. So it could be a marketing tactic. It could just be a coincidence. You know, Grinding Gear Games doesn't own a monopoly on using steampunk or cogwheel related things, so it could absolutely just be a coincidence, or it could be a smart marketing tactic like Drew Burr here says. All right, Philip J. Fry here says, I am thrilled we can continue to beta test Diablo 4 into Season 3.
I'm thrilled we can beta test Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 Season 3. I'm thrilled about this, yes.
You know, harsh but somewhat fair. They are having to change and add mid-game, in-game, and change the way itemization works.
Well, they actually have to also add early game. Well, early game passes really fast. You could say Diablo is just mid-game and end-game, and that's it. And there's some shitty points when the world, you swap world tiers and suddenly your end game is mid game again, and that's kind of shitty. So reality Diablo 4 is mid game, late game, mid game again, late game again, mid game again, late game again, mid game again, late game again. Well, actually, that's one extra, but it's kind of shitty.
So that's a good amount of core of the gameplay that's being changed. I suppose you could say it almost is like a beta test. Hurts to say it a little bit, but all right, not that far off. Now, this is an interesting comment. He says, I was convinced I'd get my sorcerer to 100 in Season 2. I got it to 94 and got real bored. I did enjoy the leveling, though. It was quicker and more fun than Season 1. Hopefully, Season 3...
True. Season 1, I did not even get to level 50. Season 2, I got to, like, level 70, 80-ish. I don't remember, something like that. And then I quit because it got fucking boring. Because, you know, everything was a mistake. By the way, it does seem like someone should do a one-for-one comparison, what they added in Diablo 3, and now what they're adding in Diablo 4. For example, the Malignant Tunnel Rings that we got in Season 2. Well, we got the passive rings in Diablo 3 also. I think they're literally just copying and pasting mechanics from Diablo 3. And, well, you know my opinion on it, and that's a horrible idea. I think Diablo 4 is turning into Diablo 3 without exceptions. It's just sad.
Can get me interested again. Now, this is, I think, a pretty fair point. This is actually sort of how I felt.
They're literally doing all the pitfalls that Diablo 3 went through.
Which is that I believe they have decent to good early game. The campaign's great, all that when you do it the first time. After that, the leveling process is much quicker now. The mid game with things like the Uber bosses, Uber Durio, even Lilith could really be considered sort of a mid game at this point, is better. And then we need in game. So right around the level 90s, 95s or so, when you can clear most things in the game, that is when the content starts to fall off. And I think that's fair. I agree with them. It was quicker and more fun than Season 1. I think Season 1 was basically a miss. Season 2 was significantly better. Everyone at the start of Season 2 was enjoying it. And it wasn't until later on into Season 2 when complaints started rolling in again about lack of things to do as we had all blown through the content. So this is a fair and balanced comment that I agree with. Red Will here says, the problem with leaderboards in a game like Diablo 4 is only about 10 people will actually care about being on the leaderboards. Beyond the top 10, which will likely either be...
Well, I did not actually know that this is a popular opinion. But yes, I have been saying this all the time. There's like 5 people in the world who care about the leaderboard. Everyone else does not.
Bots, exploiters, or streamers farming runs for content. Very few others will care at all that they even exist. Now, I'm mixed on this one because I know there is groups of hardcore players, and those are typically the players that stay in games longer.
Yeah, you're talking about groups, so it's like 5 people again. It's not... No one cares about leaderboards. It's Diablo. Dude, come on.
Do care about having ways to sort of show where...
And also, in general... Leaderboard should not be a major thing. A leaderboard should just be a minor patch that you even forget to release patch notes for, because who cares? Who cares?
Where they are on the leaderboard, and I know there are people that care about leaderboards. We recently did a hardcore like solo self-found speed race to World Tier 3 that I was shoutcasting with Riker, which was quite a bit of fun. And it made me realize that having the leaderboard itself might not be exciting, because I actually would tend to agree. I'm not a leaderboard Andy. I don't actually care about competition that much. I'm going to make the game what I want it to be for the most part with these games. But having access to the leaderboard is almost a tool, and maybe the community can create something around that tool, or maybe they can create something around that tool in the future. I do think the leaderboards are supposed to be tied more to gameplay like the Gauntlet, and hopefully the gameplay itself is enjoyable, so maybe you don't care about the leaderboards, but you do care about the content in which the leaderboards is enabling, if that makes sense. And so, interesting point here by Red Will. Another fair comment here, Mix Meister says, hopefully they bring stuff right out of left field and we're all surprised. Me too. I hope so though as well. I'm not hopeful, but we will see. I will play each season a bit as the game is fun. It just lacks longevity. This is true. When I am enjoying the game, it is in the start of the season. I will play the game. It gives me a few weeks to maybe a month. And after that, I agree it's been lacking longevity. And I try not to hammer on this point too much because I think most people really agree and we don't need to, scream D4 bad over and over again. But I do...
Well, we kind of do, because the moment we stop, the D4 developers are going to be, oh, look at that, the game's fixed. Nice, the game's good. Let's stop updating. That's going to happen instantaneously. Always scream game bad.
You agree. I will be playing each of the season launches. I'll play Season 3, I'll play Season 4, and I will enjoy the start of each of these. And if by the end of Season 4 itemization isn't solved or the itemization solution is just a miss, I'll probably just wait for the expansion and maybe see if I'm interested in the expansion and not try anything further at that point. So I think this is another fair comment. So here's one comment. Teasers are for games people want to play. If you want an audience back from ruining it, you need to drop a full reveal. Pretty brutal. I don't know if I necessarily agree, not because of the harshness of the tone, but the fact that I think teases for games are fine. They are going to drop a full reveal. This is a tease for the full reveal. We know we're getting full patch notes and we're getting the developer update live stream. So I'm unsure if what he means is don't say anything until you have something to say, which I guess is a fair point, or if it's just like we don't want to hear news about a game that I don't like. I don't necessarily mind having a little Twitter post teaser. I don't think that that is doing anything harmful for the game, and they already announced that we are getting the full reveal upcoming, so not a big deal for me. Now, this is an interesting point. Loom is a fabric manufacturing tool, so I took that as that.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot about this, but yeah, true. It's a wait. Is it still a fabric tool? Because looms previously were what you did with hands. People did with hands, but now it's automated. Is the automated thing still called the loom? Huh.
That plus the gears as an implication that maybe they will expand crafting. So
hell no. They're not going to expand crafting. And if they do, that's the stupidest decision I have ever seen in my life. You know why? Because if they're going to fix the gear affixes, gear being stupid, boring, and dull, then what's the point of improving crafting? No. Maybe you're going to have abilities to use some kind of items on gear to improve them through crafting, but it's not actually going to be crafting. It's going to be more like crafting, You get a thing, you put it on, and there you go.
He's saying is evil looms. He's saying the loom is a crafting item. That the gears, maybe they're doing some crafting related thing to it. Crafting could be a big W for the game, yeah. So Ninja here says, I expect new season to be good enough for a playthrough. I hate being that guy, but no itemization changes has not got me excited in the slightest. Hopefully they release more information and held stuff back, because so far it sounds too underwhelming. I want to be positive towards D4, but they aren't giving me much to be excited.
By the way, I have noticed this, but D4 is the only ARPG game that does... Well, they're essentially doing the card game approach to gaming, for some reason. Diablo, Blizzard does the card game approach to their games. And no other MMORPG, no other ARPG does this. And the card game approach is like this. The card game approach is, you get released a new mechanic, and then you get released a set that contains this new mechanic. You have literally, by the developers, pre-built concepts that are gonna work. You have almost pre-made decks. You know, Hearthstone, all of those games. A new keyword comes out, every class gets their cards that combo together perfectly, and even a brain-dead monkey could figure out how it works, right? Diablo is the only ARPG that actually does this. They release items that are clearly, blindingly, obviously designed intentionally to be synergized with already existing items and things. Every other ARPG game just releases items with cool effects, cool mechanics, and then they just see what people build around them. Because if you release enough cool mechanics, people are going to combo them as time progresses. It's going to happen naturally. But Diablo just literally opens your mouth like you're some kind of goose that is going to be used for foie gras. It's disgustingly stupid. They're literally treating us like brain-dead animals, honestly, at that point. They're literally, no, we can't just release items with cool effects. Our player base is too brain damaged to figure out what these effects do and what they combo with. So we need to make it blindingly obvious that this is what you put this with. And it's just bad. It's just really bad. And Diablo 4 is the only one that does this. Every other hack and slash game has something that just, you know, it adds a cool effect to some kind of skills, how they work, and then it's your playground. You figure out what you want to do with it. Diablo doesn't hold your hand. It literally staples you with a nail gun to some surface so you can't move and force feeds you.
About this is all fair feedback. In fact, I made my own video saying that my biggest issue is that while I agree Season 4 itemization will be a big W if they get the itemization right, making people wait basically a year after the product's released for itemization is an issue as well. So I think mentioning that itemization is taking a while to change is fair feedback. Though I do like that he acknowledged that new season's good enough for a playthrough. Season 1, Season 2, and hopefully Season 3 will all be good enough to come in for a week or two, play it, level.
Well, the average season is good enough for a player to play maybe like 7-ish hours, right? But nothing really else. Suck dick.
Your character up till you get bored, and then when you're bored, it's perfectly fine to move on and do something else, play a different game. Last Epoch will be in competition sometime around, you know, just after Season 3 launch here as well. So I'm sure some people will go to play that, but that's sort of what I'm expecting out of myself as well. I'll do a playthrough. I'll probably hit level 100, try out whatever the new content is, and at that point there will be something else going on I will move to. And then as Hurus, hopefully I got that right, says, I know this won't happen probably ever, but imagine Grinding Gears PoE and Blizzard's Diablo 4 would have some kind of collab. One can dream. That would be fantastic. These are two games I play.
Are you asking PoE to literally willingly step into a pile of shit? I don't think they're stupid enough.
Two games the audience that I make videos for play, and two games that honestly have somewhat similar audience bases. That would be cool, though they are somewhat direct competitors, and
not happening, obviously.
I doubt that would happen. But, you know, one can dream for sure. But these are more or less what the comments look like. There's a whole bunch more comments just kind of leaving memes about, like, I wonder what Nightmare Dungeon we're going to run this time, or what color the Hell type will be for Season 3. So,
True. What color the Hell... They're not even going to change it. You know what I wonder? I wonder what item slot this time we will be forced to give up permanently for a remnant of the vampiric powers. That's what I really wonder. Because they did this with Season 1. They did this with the Malignant Hearts. Some classes have to permanently give up a ring slot now. Because the Malignant Heart effect is just too good. So yeah, some classes have to literally give up item slots now. It is what it is. And this is going to happen. This is going to be the exact same thing for Season 3. You're going to have the Malignant Ring, which is going to be a must-have thing for every class. So, you have already -1 ring slot. It's never changing. It's gonna always be the Malignant Heart one. And now you're gonna have a Vampiric Power item slot, which is again gonna be -1 item slots to your, well, whatever, because whatever those powers are, they're gonna be way stronger than anything else in the game, and it's not gonna be a choice. And this, I wonder how long is this gonna happen until Blizzard figures out, wait a minute, all the items now are useless because all of the items are being taken up by already existing things. How do we allow people to use these old powers without taking item slots? And then someone's gonna be like, how about we make a shrine that you click on it and allows you to select 3 previous powers or something, almost like a Haradric Cube from Diablo 3. This is literally the direction this is going for. I'm done. I don't think Diablo 4 is savable. It's just over. I think it's just over. It was a good run while it lasted. The copium was funny. The failures were even better. I think Diablo 4 is cooked. There's no chance that this game ever succeeds. Anyway, this was Quizzer Citizen, and this was our boy, DM, also known as Skills, mainly known as Skills, because he would be perfect in a Skills commercial, like looking all at the colors of the rainbow and whatnot. It would be amazing. Anyway, this was Quizzer Citizen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.